Hello and welcome back. This is episode 21 of my vlog series about creating the art for a 2D video game. And I have my daughter here again. I was just sitting down to film after she went down for a nap, and then I heard her crying. So she's just going to be in this video, as she has been for so many videos that have gone before. Huh. And actually, it was her first birthday this week, so, wish her a happy birthday. Can you say hi to everybody? Say hi, everybody. So this episode is going to be a little bit different because I just kind of wanted to do a general update and kind of show, what I've been working on, what I'm currently working on, and kind of some of the next steps that we're taking in our project. I think up to this point, I've shown a lot of the development in our game of your home kingdom. So we're getting to the point where a lot of those big gameplay pillars are in place. So, you've got your kingdom, you've got peasants that work for you, there are various machines that you can use that make different products, there's raising animals, and there is the planting and cultivating of crops and that sort of thing. And so we're getting to the point that I'm starting to work outside of your home kingdom and start developing some of the assets for some of the surrounding areas. So I want to go ahead and switch over to my screen here in just a second, and I will show you what I've been working on and what some of those next steps are. So I will see you in a second. Okay, so here we are in Photoshop, and I've got open here is a map of the entire gameplay area. And this is just like a rough map. It is not the one, this will not appear in the final game. Basically, the whole point of it was just to give us an idea of what goes where. And on this side, I have this same map just sort of divided up into sections, because as I've mentioned before, you've got your kingdom, but then there are all of these other kingdoms that surround you that you are trying to either conquer or ally yourself with or whatever, and each of them own a certain section of land. So this section here is where I was basically just trying to figure out how much of the map to allot, to each of the different kingdoms, and all of that is subject to change. But really what I want to show you, so if I zoom in here, you can see this little square right here is your home kingdom. And basically up to this point, except for that very first video that I did that kind of introduced the whole project, up to this point, pretty much everything that I've shown has been contained within this square. And as you can see, that sort of gives you an idea of roughly how big, the finished game map will be. But at this point, we're basically shooting to have 4 kingdoms besides yours done and up and running by the time we launch the beta version of the game. And one of those, and of course this is all subject to change, but right now one of those on track to be released for the beta launch is this desert kingdom area up here. And that, I've done pretty much all of the buildings for that area. I might just have to do some tweaking. I haven't done interiors for all the buildings, but exteriors are done. I've done a lot of the characters. Again, I'll have to go in and do some, I have to do some adjusting and some tweaking because we've made changes since I made those characters, but those are all done. Another area that hopefully will be up for the beta launch will be like the elves down here. So we've got some elves that live in this sort of enchanted forest area. And I still have quite a bit to do with them. I originally had done some buildings for them, but I ended up changing my mind and thinking instead I wanted them to live in like tree houses or something like that. So I need to change like all of their buildings. I've made quite a few characters, but they will also be undergoing some changes. And just like the flora and fauna around this area, because I want it to be distinct and different from other areas of the map to have this sort of enchanted, magical feeling. So I'm going to need to make a lot of stuff for that area. And then the other 2 areas that will hopefully be ready will be of this seaside sort of village area here. We've got like a lighthouse and some docks and some of these houses that are like up on stilts. That area I still need to do. I basically haven't touched. And then the area that I'm working on right now is your rival kingdom, which is like right next door. And this is the really, really wealthy folks live over here. And I'm sure at some point we will come up with like a real name for them, but at the moment they're just your wealthy rival kingdom. And so right here we have sort of the town center main area. It'll be just like a walled area with all of the buildings, and I'm hoping to do like a big cathedral in there. I'll show you some more ideas here in just a second. Up here is the big manor house where the lord and lady and their daughter of this area live. And over here they've got like the royal stables, where you might be able to send your peasants to give them some training on like animal husbandry or something like that. That all is still in the works. But so that gives you an idea of like what the final map will look like and kind of what we'll have hopefully available when the beta version launches. But that leads me to, let me show you if I can find it. I have another map here. This one, again, very rough. This is another map that just sort of broke down that particular area, the rival kingdom area in the game. And this was a lot for me, basically, just to give me an idea of what I needed to make. So over here in like square H here, we've got, this is your home kingdom. It's just this one square. And there's your castle, and there's like Garth's house, and here's some of the roadways and the water. And over here in F is, like I said, that town center area, and there will be like a cathedral there, hopefully a big fountain. There will be some buildings for the various people who live there, and some homes like little hovels, you know, the rich version of a hovel for peasants that live there. Over here, of course, are those stables, and we've got the big manor house up here with a big hedge maze and landscaping and stuff like that. And down here, of course, I just compiled a bunch of just inspiration photos to give myself ideas for what I wanted. So, based on the maps and everything that I drew, I started designing buildings and, of course, the people who live in these areas. So let me show you what I've got for some of the like unique NPCs that will live over here in your rival kingdom. First of all, I guess I should mention too that there are peasants who will live in your rival kingdom too. And I will, I'll pull those up in a minute too here. But there will also be, the peasants will just be, milling around. Basically, their job is just to like populate the area, make it feel like a bustling city. But within that, you've got like, unique characters that live there. So let me show you what I've got. So first we've got the royal family. If you follow me on Instagram, and you really should, you will probably have seen these guys. So this is Pontus. He is the lord of your rival kingdom, his wife Charity, and their charming daughter Eustacia, who will be a marriage candidate. This is the family that's going to be running the tavern, actually. So this is Ted, who's a very, very friendly guy. His wife, Eliza, who is very just suspicious of everyone and is really, like, flinty. And then, of course, their daughter, Violet, who is just really sweet and shy, and she is also a marriage candidate. Who else lives in your rival kingdom? Well, these four people do. So we have got Bruce, he's the builder who lives there, sells blueprints and that sort of thing, also a marriage candidate. And then this is Morgan, who runs the royal stables, not a marriage candidate. She's a little bit past her prime, but still a wonderful character. And then here we've got Fagin, who is really creepy. Not a marriage candidate, but he will be in charge of like trading and handling transactions between you and some of the other kingdoms. He's a bit of like a shady sort of used car salesman kind of type. And here we've got Amadeus, who is a musician, a penniless musician who lives in the rival kingdom. And I think he's going to be a marriage candidate too. He's a bit of an odd one, but we think surely somebody will want to have him. Now the other character we have living in the rival kingdom is Vincent here. This is his whole sprite sheet, but I just wanted to show you him right here. He is the priest who will be living and working in the big cathedral there. And this is Belfry, the church mouse. I thought it would be super cute if there was a little mouse that lived in the church that he takes care of. So that's Vincent. And then I said I would show you those peasants. And so I'm going to pull those up really quick. So, much like your kingdom, there will be peasants that live in the rival kingdom, and basically I used a lot of the same material that I used for your kingdom, except these peasants are a little better dressed. So, unlike the rags that your peasants have, these are the female peasants. They have their pretty dresses. They're simple, so they don't like. So it's easy to tell them apart from like the unique, NPCs. But at the same time, they're still, this is a far cry better than what your peasants wear. And of course, every peasant in your rival kingdom wears a powdered wig. So I designed, if you've been on my Instagram, I was very proud of this. I showed a picture of all 16 powdered wigs that I designed. These 8 are for the ladies. And so it will be, of course, just like the peasants in your kingdom, they will be randomly generated with different bodies, hair, faces, head shape, and whatnot, that all put together to make a peasant. So those are the female peasants, and the male peasants are similar in that they are better dressed than your peasants. Oh, it looks like I made a little goof right there. I'll have to go fix that. They are better dressed than your peasants, and they are also, they also wear powdered wigs. So we've got 8 more male versions of the powdered wigs right there. So it just goes to show, how snooty they are, compared to, say, like your peasants. Alright, so that leads us to the next thing I've been working on. So I have been working on that big manor house. And let's see, so here is the finished sprite sheet, and I will show you kind of what it will look like more or less in-game here in just a second. But let me color that background really quick. There we go, so it makes it a little easier to see. But I've got all the pieces and parts here that will go into making the manor. So one of them is just, the house here. And it's got, a foundation that it sits on and this wall. There's a big fence that sort of surrounds the whole property. We've got some landscaping elements like trees and flowers, and there will also be a hedge maze. And I did it sort of in 2 parts because I thought it would make it easier for your character to walk through it if you wanted to, and I'll show you what I mean here in just a second. And of course, Pontus has a statue of himself that will be in the middle of the hedge maze. And if you put all of that together, it will look sort of like this. So I've got it mocked up right here. This isn't exactly how it will look in the game, but it gives you an idea. And so here we go. We have the big manor house, and there's Pontus and Charity out front enjoying their sunny day, so it gives you an idea of scale. And you can arrange, of course, the landscaping and stuff. We can arrange it, any way we want, but something like this with some trees and some flower beds. And here we have that hedge maze. As you can see, I've assembled the 2 parts. It gives it a sort of 3D effect. But hopefully that will allow your character to walk through it, but still like they're sort of sunk into the hedge maze a little bit. And of course we've got that statue of Pontus's head. and that's more or less, what it will look like in-game. Here's another close-up that I posted to my Instagram. Right here. Like I said, you really should be following me on Instagram. Okay, so the other thing I've been working on, of course, is like the wallpaper and the flooring that will be in here. So most of the floorings and the walls for your home kingdom are made of wood. So there's I have really old, sort of chipped, really weather-beaten wood for floors and for walls, and also some plaster that we've used for your home kingdom. But of course, Pontus and Charity have much more refined taste. So here's their wallpaper that will be in their house. It's this gold sort of brocade wallpaper. And I'm thinking this is a marble floor tile that I did. And I'm thinking maybe using that. I also think I've tried using a wood floor with it too, like a polished, nice wood floor. And that also looks really nice. And so I might be using a combination of flooring, say like the marble tiles in the kitchen and maybe the dining areas, and then the wood floor in the more living type areas. But I haven't totally decided yet. I really do like the marble because I feel like it's just classy. And it's very elite, sort of, only the wealthiest of people have marble floors, right? And so last thing, of course, as you saw briefly, I'm working on the furnishings for their house. And I am not quite done yet, but I'll kind of show you. As you can see, this is a work in progress. None of this is colored yet. And I still need to do furniture for the bedroom. So for Pontus and Charity, for their bedroom, I'm picturing a big canopied bed, and a vanity for Charity, and a big wardrobe, and that sort of thing for their room. And of course for their daughter, she'll need, she'll need furniture as well. But so far, I pretty much am done with the furniture that's going to go in the drawing room and the kitchen and the dining room. So I'll show you just briefly what I've got, and none of it's colored, obviously. But we've got windows, and those will be used, throughout the house with the wall, the curtains. And those I can use in a number of places. So those will help fill space. Same thing, I've got this sconce here, this candelabra that goes on the walls, and those can be used all throughout the house. I have a fireplace here, and these, I'm picturing these being like Chinese pottery, almost with like blue designs on them, and you know, we're more like urns, I guess. So maybe they're belong to dead family, you know, dead relatives that are still sitting here on their mantle. And this here is just the fireplace grate, but I thought if we wanted to actually have a fire burning in there, I would make it a separate piece so it could sit in front of the flames. And this is empty right now. It's going to be a big gold frame, like a giant portrait that'll go on the wall. I thought that Pontus and his family probably would have had their portrait painted, so I want to do a big family portrait that'll go on the wall, but right now that frame is empty. We have a door here, and of course those will go throughout the house, doors just leading to wherever. And we have a rug, which will, I think, I'm thinking I can use this in more than one place, but especially I want it in like the drawing room where people will be hanging out, just sort of underneath all the furniture. And I have a big grand piano. I thought maybe our resident musician, Amadeus, would come over occasionally and play their piano and their harp here. There'll be a harp that will sit in the corner next to the piano. I have a gold, soon-to-be gold, right now it is not gold, a soon-to-be gold mirror that will go on the wall somewhere. This one I might be able to use in multiple places as well. And of course we have just basic furnishings, like we've got couch, and I'm imagining like a really pretty sort of print on the upholstery for the couch, and we've got a matching chair, and here's like a fainting couch that will go against the wall. And I've got like a matching couch and chair that are going the other way, so we can sort of have them facing each other or at a right angle to each other, so that, you know, somebody could sit and chat with somebody else on this couch. And of course end tables, those I'll be able to use in multiple places, and like a long table that I thought maybe in the entryway. We've got some decorative plants here that will go, you know, surround doorways, and maybe I'll put one next to like the fireplace, and just to make it a little more homey. And then, since the manor does have multiple stories, I was thinking I would have the drawing room and the kitchen and the dining room at least all on one floor, and then on the second floor would be all of the bedrooms. So there's a staircase, a big grand staircase that you can go up to the bedrooms. And over here I've got some things for the kitchen. So here we have our stove. This will be like a big cast iron stove right here. They've got these what would you call it? These doors, these that you can open and put the wood inside, and then of course you boil your kettle, boil your water or whatever. And we've got countertops just for preparing meals. We've got their tea tray. This is just a little shelf on the wall where they display some like fine china and their platters. Over here, there's another counter that will fit against the wall that has some food on it, because I thought it would be nice to actually show how they eat. You know, how different are they from the people in your kingdom who are pretty much living off of corn and potatoes. But we've got a basket here, a fruit basket. I've got a tiered platter here with pastries. We've got like a pie, croissants, and then some like cupcakes on the bottom. And of course a big either roast chicken or roast turkey down here as well, because that screams wealth to me when this is how you eat every single day. And in the middle of the room, there will be a island here that has, you know, some sinks, and I just did like some, I imagine these are like herbs that they're just growing there on the counter so that they can cut them and use them for all of their cooking. So very fancy kitchen. And the dining room that matches with this. I think I might still do some more finishing touches on this china hutch. In fact, because these are going to be glass panes, I want you to be able to see some of the china on display inside of it. So I'm working on that still. And of course, we've got a great big dining table with a really pretty floral centerpiece right here. So as you can see, I've been working very hard on this for like the last week and a half, because all of this stuff is very ornate and highly decorated, so it takes a little bit of time. But I'm getting there. I'm almost done. The drawing portion, of course, takes the longest. Coloring won't be quite as long, and I'll have to put, you know, the colors and the shadows on. But that won't take quite as long as the drawing phase. But pretty much I have the bedrooms to do, and I'm still trying to decide if I should try and do like a study. Maybe. I might do a study. I don't know. I'm trying to decide how much of the house you should be able to access. You know, I feel like you should be able to access a lot of it because it should feel like a really big, spacious manor. But I also don't want there to be a bunch of pointless areas, you know, that are just a lot of work to make that nobody has any reason to actually go in and explore. So anyway, some of that's still in the works. But as you can see, I'm getting there. This will hopefully be done within like the next week. We have family coming into town, so we shall see. We shall see. But I hope you've enjoyed this video and have enjoyed seeing some of the latest updates. And thank you all for sticking with me for so long. Hopefully you've been enjoying this series. And of course, I will be back next Friday with another drawing video. And until then, I hope you enjoy your week.